All right. So I was living in Waco, Texas at the time, and when September 11th happened, and I was 24 years old and actually working at the Dr. Pepper Museum while going to school at Baylor University. And so I'm driving to the Dr. Pepper Museum and I was listening to the radio, NPR, and there was mention of a plane hitting a building in New York City. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's not good. And I'm thinking it was a small Cessna, which is like a single engine propeller plane. And I was like, that's, bummer. So I walk in to Dr. Pepper Museum and I say hi to Jenny, who also worked there at the time. And I said, did you hear anything about a plane hitting a building? And she's like, no. So I went upstairs to the collections area and I was actually working with some of the collections and I turned on the radio. Okay. Yeah, a radio. And I was listening to the radio, listening to music, and then they cut on and it was like a plane struck a building. And so I'm like, oh, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. And so I'm sitting there working with the collections, and I hear the first tower fall. And I just started crying. And the immediate thought to me was, I've got to get out of this building. Okay. This building could be under attack as well, which is illogical. But George Bush was the president at the time, and he was from Crawford, Texas, which was like 20 miles from Waco. And I had seen Marine Force One. He going home. So he was being carried, went home occasionally. So I was like, oh my gosh, that could be a target. And I had no idea where he was at the time. I didn't know he was in Florida. So I was just kind of freaking out, but crying at the same time. And then what am I going to do if, someone actually is going to attack this area? And then someone came and got me and was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, come down. And of course, when I got to the TV, someone had put the TV on and I saw what happened. I did not understand that it was a passenger plane and then there was another passenger plane, and then I tried to get on the internet and the internet would not work. I was like trying to get on CNN news and the only thing that popped up was like there was a bomb at the State Department, and what the heck is going on? And of course that actually was not true, but of course there was other planes that crashed into the Pentagon and into Pennsylvania. And so the aftermath, we didn't even know everything that was going on, but I watched the plane hit the building and was stunned. And I don't remember anything really after that until like I walked around like a zombie. I mean, no one came to the museum that day. Um, and I got to home where I was staying, and that night I remember I woke up the next day and I had a nightmare that my brother had been called up to go to Afghanistan because I think they knew at that point that it was Al Qaeda or the Taliban, and that we were going to declare war on them. And my both brothers were actually in the Army Reserves, but I had the dream that my brother Drew, who's the oldest brother, was called up to go to Afghanistan. And 2 years later, that was the case. He did go to Afghanistan. Actually, he went to Iraq. And then my other brother, Patrick, was called up 3 or 4 years after that and served in Iraq and Afghanistan because of 9/11. And, that's a whole nother scenario that we had to go through. Not scenario, but experience of them going over there and us worrying about what was going on over there, and then coming back. And they both had PTSD because of what they experienced because of 9/11. It's just a domino effect of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, like we've been talking about in U.S. history. So the day after it happened, I remember going to the grocery store to purchase a newspaper because obviously it was a historic, awful tragedy, and I wanted a record of that, like the reaction. And I actually have it at school I usually show it when I'm in school. So I might do that on the Monday that I come back. Um, but yeah, that was my experience. The last thing I want to tell you is um, a couple of years later, I can't remember if it was 2010 or 2011, that I got married, and I was living in Oklahoma, and I was sitting on the couch, and a news special came up, and they're like, the president's going to come in on as President Obama, and he said there's going to be a special news something or other, and I was thinking, what could possibly be, what's going on? And right before they said it, I realized, oh, they must have gotten Osama bin Laden. And what I remember specifically about that was, and I still get pretty emotional about this, I had never been so happy that someone had died. I've never wished that before. So that's how 9/11 has affected me, and what I remember of that day.